What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? I am excited to be here today to chat with my girl. I can call her that, Porscha Shaw. So, if this is your first time tuning in, my name is Deidre D. Woods, and I am the creator of AOCS, which is a platform strictly geared toward content around artists of color based in Seattle, but and beyond. Um, and these conversations, I've titled them This Moment and Beyond. So today I'm going to talk to Porscha. So, Porscha, you have to request to join the live. So, um, I hope everybody is having a good day. I'm so excited to talk to Porscha today, and tomorrow I'll be talking to another artist, Jojo. I have to ask Jojo how to pronounce his last name correctly because I don't like to mess people's names up. But come back tomorrow. Okay, Porscha's ready. All right, let me bring you in. Ah. All right, we're waiting for Porscha. Hey, look
Hey,
at this. Okay.
yes,
I'm
honey,
eating.
you're beautiful. Okay.
No, look, today I was like, I'm gonna get dressed like Portia and I are going somewhere. You know,
Oh
like
yeah,
we gonna go somewhere.
yeah. I got
Cause
just going to the market. I got a little cute little skirt set.
oh wait, let me see that again. Okay, little two piece.
Yes, a little two piece.
Cause I knew you were gonna do that. I already knew. I was like, Portia gonna come with something, so I can't be on here looking like a bum.
Yes. Hey, I'm so glad to see your face.
I know. How are you?
I'm doing good. Today I feel a little crazy today, but I think that's normal every day.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
Yeah. I don't know why I feel like frazzled today for some reason, but I'm really excited to be here talking to you.
So tell people who don't know you, tell them your name, if you want to share your pronouns, and what kind of artist you are.
My name is Porscha Shaw. I am, my pronouns are she, her, and I would like to say I am a mixed media. I like a lot of different things. I like plays. I like immersive pieces. I love immersive pieces. Um, I like museums. I like to look at people. I like statues. I like a bunch of
Mhm.
weird stuff. I like clay. Um, so yeah, but my primary base in Seattle is theater. Totally.
How did you make it here to Seattle? Where'd you come here from?
I came here. I moved here from Santa Fe, New Mexico. That's where I went to undergrad. And then I applied for grad school and got into UW. So I moved to Seattle.
Thank you for coming to Seattle.
Thank y'all for having me here. It's been great.
Look, we so happy you here. And I'm sure your fan base is happy that you chose Seattle too.
I hope so.
How's your heart doing now?
Um, my heart's pretty heavy. It has been for I think for some months now, though. I've had a heavy heart, and I actively work every day at releasing something from it, is what I will say,
Hmm.
as an effort.
Hmm. Do you
Yeah.
think that having this kind of, and I've been just, it's really weird to have this time where we're we're kind of set in a stillness, but it doesn't stop all of the outside forces still from coming in. Like life is still happening, even though we are not working, you know?
Mm.
We're still doing, I feel like I've done more work on me now than I was able to do before. And I try to watch my language when I say the benefits of being still, because I would rather this pandemic and subsequent events have not happened. You know, I'd rather it just to have had the time in our lives to say, okay, I need to take this time to work on me. And I think our society as a whole doesn't value that kind of work. And what I love about you is you're always so true and so genuine to your spirit. And I think that comes through in your work.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the same thing. I really feel like this time was orchestrated by whatever, by whoever, by whatever. Because it is exactly what you said. Like, we're sitting in stillness. And what's so funny about this is that I talked to you right before this happened, and I was kind of feeling really burnt out.
Look, sorry, baby, both of us.
We were both like, oh, we work so hard. Where, like, when? And so when this happened, I was like, oh, now you rarely in life, I think, get the thing that you want right after you say it.
True.
Right? And I didn't realize that what I was asking for in a roundabout way, by being like, I'm frustrated and being resistant to work and not wanting to do more stuff, was that I was saying that I wanted to work on myself. You know, in a roundabout way, I was like, I want to be still, right? And now, when I got the time, I just never knew what I was putting off for so long.
Look, ring the bell and say it again.
I never knew how much I was avoiding for so long. And it knocked me on my ass, this quarantine.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
In the best way, but it totally did.
And I was just, it gave me a thought too. What I realized is, I think what most people don't know is that for Black people, having these moments of, if we want to call it stillness, but still having to be so active in our pursuit of true equity and just literally our lives. So, and I always like to tell you, this is not a new fight for us.
No.
Even before the quarantine happened, we were all upset. We were all screaming for justice in our own way. Mm-hmm. And I want people to realize that it's not easy for us to be in this moment of insecurity, forced stillness, and still be so upset and pushing for more. Like the dichotomy of that, I think is very interesting, because we don't have the privilege of enjoying this quote unquote stillness for so long.
Yeah. I actually was talking to one of my classmates the other day. Well, she's not my classmate anymore, but from grad school. And I was telling her how I felt guilty. I felt guilty because I had gotten really overwhelmed, right? Mm-hmm. Some but not everybody knows that my grandmother recently passed, right? So the woman who raised me, along with my mother, died. My boyfriend's father died. You know, I turn on the TV, I go to my Instagram, there are videos of Black people being killed in the street, right? I was having a hard time, a really hard time being present and fighting, right? And so I was telling her how I felt guilty, and I think it's that bridge between being a Black woman, we're Black and we're women, So we have the thing where we're fighting, but also being leaned on,
Yeah.
right? And so it's exhausting in a whole other way, because as women we feel guilty because we always feel like we should be doing more. Every Black woman I talked to, because she said, every Black woman that I know is telling me how guilty they feel. And I was like, that does not shock me, that in this movement and time when we're even trying to acquire stillness for ourselves as Black women, we feel guilty because we know somebody's leaning on us, even the Black men, right? Because I'm still having to remind people that like Breonna Taylor was killed before George Floyd was killed.
Yes.
And like the movement happened when George Floyd was killed.
Yes.
Right. And so it's like, yeah, we're also, there's another layer with us because we're Black women. And I feel guilty when I cut myself off of Instagram, when I don't know what's going on in my friends' lives, you know, I feel guilty, and I shouldn't feel guilty.
No, we have to cut it loose, because I agree with you. Like a few weeks last month, the beginning of last month, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling overwhelmed by receiving all of these images, all this input, all this information, all while it's truly valid. And I am thankful for people to share this information. But for me, it was too much.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I had to hold everything up. Like I had to know everything. I had to shout just as loud as everybody else and still try to take care of myself. And it was too much. And I decided to release that and let it go, because I keep saying, this fight is not a sprint to the finish.
Yeah.
And while many voices need to scream, we need to know when to be quiet and to be still within ourselves, so that when someone else needs to tap out, then we reserved and we're able to pick up the fight. And it's okay to fight in your own way.
Yes. Yes.
Fighting doesn't always have to be violent. I think you can find ways to do what you can. And if you don't feel like it, we shouldn't feel guilty for not doing it.
Right.
But that's hard because we've been taught.
Oh, ingrained.
Disrespected, but also expect so much is expected of Black women.
Oh yeah. Like an unbelievable amount is expected of Black women.
Especially, I feel like, how do you feel do you think your artistry or your artistic voice is changing?
I think yes, I think it's changing and almost reverting in a good way. Like I feel like I can be, one of the good things about me is that I can be very, very focused on something, right? And like I can be very one-minded and like fast-tracked in my mind. But and I said that to say, when I came to Seattle, I was focusing on acting. I came here to be an actor, right? That is what I was focusing on. And so I really not that I feel like my artistry was limited in a way, in a way to help, right? Like, so, because it's easy for people to get distracted when they're trying to work on multiple things at one time. You can't really hone in skill on one thing, I feel. So now that I'm out of school and now that I'm in quarantine, I've been able to go back to like singing and writing and being able to really lean on the tools that I've built in school, like my imagery, like I'm able to sit and imagine things, and hear things, and just like when I'm walking around. So I feel like my artistry is kind of going back to when I was 19 and carefree, you know? And I kind of just I had no fear, and I was just kind of like, I was like, I am who I am, and like, this is what I want to do. So yeah, I think it's changing, and yeah, or like dusting off things that I might have forgotten about myself.
I agree. I think hopefully that as artists, we're learning to be fearless because we don't have these institutions to quote unquote answer to. Yeah. You know, we're not, oh, I got to go to rehearsal in this building with this play that I didn't pick, but somebody picks it. I need a job. I got to make my money. So I'm going to go do this thing.
Right.
So now we're all given this chance to truly explore what kind of artist we really want to be.
Yeah.
And being okay with that not being what it was before this started.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think we got to challenge ourselves to really think about us. Like, I've been saying that for myself. Like, what is it that I want to do? And was thinking about this before this whole thing started. And being okay with it being different than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. That's hard.
It is hard.
Hard.
Being an artist is such a grind. I mean, you get ground out. It's like you're constantly trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do next? What's next? And
yes. Yeah. And people are constantly asking you.
Oh,
girl, they want to know, sis. They believe you just be booking stuff and it's just there in your inbox. And you be like, but sis, wait, I have to audition and they have to want me.
They're like, we saw you at the rep. Okay, what else you doing?
Right? Nothing.
Right. Like, you got a job in your back pocket you want to give me?
Right. Right. You say you like to hire me.
Look, and the part about, I think after a while, and I'm at an age where I'm like, you get tired of asking people for stuff. And when we go into the room and we audition, we're asking them to give us the job.
Yeah.
And part of the shift, and I think a lot of actors come to this point where you're not going in the room seeking, you're telling them they want you.
Right.
So it's not about me asking you. It's about me showing you that this is what you want for your show.
Right.
And it's up to you to see that. And if this is the vision, then that's what it is.
Right. Right. Yeah. Also, some people have no idea what their vision is, girl. So you might even be bringing the vision to them. Okay.
Look, I'll show you better than I can tell you. That's what I always say.
Right.
What do you think about all of and we talked about this offline, the changes, like how will theater look post COVID?
I mean, honestly, I'm still worried. I'm gonna be honest. I'm still worried. I'm still very much like, because the other big part about this, which goes back to what I said earlier about this being an orchestrated time, is that people do now have time because they aren't as busy to focus on this movement, right?
Yeah.
And so what's going to be really important for people who are the heads of theaters and people who are calling out for change and creating diversity and equity panels and having conversation is to, when the world opens, right, is the follow through. Because what we don't want right now is what I don't want, I'm gonna speak for myself. And also I feel like other Black people don't want this either. You don't want people to be offering you 100,000 Zoom meetings, right? When people aren't gonna really see your face unless they tune into the Zoom. And then when it comes time to be on stage, it's all white again. Right? It's like the Princess and the Frog thing. It's like, oh, Disney gave us a Black princess, but she a frog the whole movie.
I've never watched it.
You don't.
I refuse for that reason.
The soundtrack, that's about it.
I was like, how they gonna give us a movie and then she gotta be a frog? And it's like set in New Orleans. I started watching a little bit of it because I was like, August, you want to watch it? August is my son. He's like, no. He knew. I guess he knew. He's like, no.
He was like, I sense the foolery. I sense the foolery.
And I think that also is a problem. Like, you want to support your people and you want to support your people.
Yeah.
But if nobody shows up at the show, can you imagine that if a theater did a show and it was straight tomfoolery and then nobody came? That's what we need to start doing it.
Yeah.
So allies, y'all need to show up too.
Yeah.
We all have to be.
Well, how are you an ally if you don't show up?
Yeah. True. Show up and show out. So if we say we boycotting something, you better boycott it too.
Be clear, because I'm gonna side eye you. Okay? I'm gonna be like,
I'm still trying to remember how we met. And I feel like we've done more shows together than we have.
We have. I know.
We've only done one show where we were actually in it together. But I swear, I was thinking, I was like, okay, how do we know each other so well?
I really think it was Rent Party. I think it was Val. It was Rent Party. Because I played your sister. And so I think, and I had seen you, I've seen you in a lot of stuff. So I knew of you. And Val used to talk about you quite a bit when I first moved here. So it's like, I told you when I moved, it was you and Shanice. Like, yeah, so I think Rent Party is how we met. And then we kept seeing each other at auditions, I think.
I swear, I feel like I've known you, like, we are like BFF. Well, first of all, I really feel like you're my little sister from another mister.
Yeah.
Like, that is just, y'all, Porscha and I are linked.
Yes, it's so
I'm telling
true.
You, it's the truth.
It's really true. It is true.
I listened in on some of your talk with Shanice.
Yeah.
When you did the the interview, and you were talking about Greek plays.
Yes, Lord.
Actually, Allie was talking about this in another instance too, about what you said, talking about like classical work and theater's resistance to putting Black and other Indigenous people of color artists in those roles. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was in school, like my company, I went to SUNY Purchase and was majority Black and other POC. So this was the first time they had ever done it. I feel like we were the experiment company. And they didn't want to give us the Shakespeare play. Everybody did a Shakespeare play. Every company, you did at least one main stage Shakespeare. And when it came to ours, they said they didn't think we could handle the language. So we ended up doing a play written in verse. It was written in verse, but it wasn't Shakespeare. And I remember thinking to myself, they are damaging us. Like, this is such a missed opportunity. Yes. I mean, I agree. I prefer Greeks over Shakespeare.
Woo, 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 woo.
I just think
it's better.
It's better.
It's better. It's better.
But there's this misconception about who is allowed to say that language,
right?
Who it's for,
right? Right.
And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about how you became comfortable with doing this type of work, because you mentioned somebody on the you mentioned Amy.
Oh yes.
Thone,
Amy, and I'll say it again. Amy Thone is where it's at. Okay, Amy Thone's where it's at. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, I think I said this until my second year of grad school. Not until my second year. I want to say second quarter too. So like midway. Did I care about Shakespeare or classical text? I mean, classical text, I'll take that back because we worked on it in Suzuki and we had like dabbled on it in a little bit in some of our acting classes, and we had done Greek that year too. So that our program is also heavily like dripped in classical text, which is something I was looking for in grad school. Yeah, I was like, one of the other programs that I got into was Old Globe, and they only do Shakespeare, right? Mm-hmm. Or like primarily. But I think Amy Thone just really broke down the elitist part of Shakespeare for me. Yeah. I never, when you're in a room with Amy Thone, she is not know-it-all, even though she is, okay? Even though she is not a know-it-all, elitist, typical type of Shakespeare teacher. Before I had taken her class, I had taken another Shakespeare class, and I had done some Shakespeare work, but my teacher taught us out of a book, and that was it. Like, it was like the book, and we were supposed to get up and understand how that worked, and like, yeah, it was just so unclear. And then Amy Thone gave me a hopscotch because, okay, I was resistant to Amy Thone, and I love her as a person, okay? But I was like, I straight up told her in my first class, I was like, I don't like Shakespeare, just so you know. Like, just so you know, when we're going into this class, Porscha Shaw is not going to be your grade A student. I let her know in the first class. I was like, you're not going to be happy with this work. Like, I'm not going to be excited to do this. And she was like, cool, got my eye on you. And I was working on Cleopatra, the give me my robe, bring me my crown speech when she's about to kill herself. And I just couldn't. The thing about me is I always can see the images, right? So I can see the imagery. And she was like, Porscha, you know what's going on. And I was like, yeah, I know what's going on, but I don't know how to say it. Like, it's not for me. Like, I'm like, I don't understand it. She made me do a hopscotch. Bum, 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 bum. She said, and I said the words, give me my robe, put on my crown. Right? And I was like, and then just that was all it took for me, because we had worked so much on physicality, and once I understood the rhythm in my body, and I was able to make it like ABC, give me my robe, put on my, like, I was like, yo, like, even saying it right now, it brings me back to that moment. Because even Amy was like, Porscha, you know? She was like, I think you liked it. And I was mad because I did, you know? Like, but it just takes somebody who doesn't believe that Shakespeare is the end all be all. Because I come into contact with people like that all the time. Yeah. When you're a little brown kid or a black kid, and because the other thing is that, like, one of my classmates is like thoroughly weft in it, right? Like, so there was like me and her, right? So when I first came into school, I felt like she had all the information, and that's how I feel all the time. And I think that happens a lot, where you feel like there's this secret knowledge to Shakespeare because people talk about it like that. Like, it's
it's like a secret society up in here, and we love it out.
And it's a hand clap. That's it. Something I just need to say is, in grad school we wrote sonnets, and I was like, yo, I could have been a Shakespeare. My sonnet was bomb. Okay. Look. If I had rhythm, all I knew was to write to a rhythm like that. My name is Porscha Shaw. Please do not try. You know, look. I could just make up a sonnet. Hey. So I think it takes people not being elitist about it. Shakespeare is some words, and yeah, he's great. He's great. Let me be honest, because he was a white writer, and white people ruled theater for a long time. Like, honest to God, like, most stories are regurgitated white stories. So of course Shakespeare is as popular as he is right now, because you wouldn't let anybody else be a classic. Yep. Shakespeare, Moliere, all those things. It's like, I don't. People just love it. Like, people, it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's whiteness that, like, is into whiteness. They're like, I had that conversation with somebody yesterday. I said, you know, we've decided that these plays are classics, and then it's like the door is shut. These are the classics. But what about all of these Black plays that are truly classics also, but not held to the same regard? When you're thinking of doing classics in your season, you need to open it up and really talk about classics as a whole. Right. Yeah, I think when we worked with, we met during Richard, well, we didn't meet. We worked on Richard III together. And if people have seen any of the work that Upstart Crow has done, Rosa always casts, it's female non-binary, right? But a majority of the cast always BIPOC. And so
I had a little girl come up to me after, and I don't consider myself to be like a connoisseur in Shakespeare. Also because I felt like this thing, like it wasn't for me. Nobody calls me in for it. Like, you know, I feel uncomfortable because I think my colleague, you know, has more information than I do.
Yes. Yeah.
When I've done the work, not like I never worked on Shakespeare before.
Huh.
But this little girl was like, it's the first time I saw a play and I understood, like a Shakespeare play, and I understood what was going on. Even adults, they were like, this work that's happening, totally understood every word. And for me, that touched me because I said all she needed was the opportunity to receive that cultural experience.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I think sometimes we feel like what we do isn't valid as artists because we live in a society where the hierarchy puts us down.
Oh yeah, totally.
But what we do is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we forget also because we're like hired for if we make it our lifestyle. So like it's about living also, you know, it's about survival also. And I think it's hard to remember how important it is what we do. Like it's hard to remember. Like I had forgotten how important it was for people to hear what I had to say, what I had to say. Right? Not like me through a Shakespeare lens, not me through a prostitute, you know, like not me through all these different characters I've played. They need to hear what I have to say and that I am the artist, right? Right? Like that the work that I'm being invited to do is not my artistry. I've forgotten that. After school, I was so focused on proving that I would work because I really left grad school thinking that I would not be successful. Right? I had like ingrained that in my being that I was not going to be successful. And so I left school I was like, okay, I'm gonna go wherever anybody would like for me to go. I'm gonna say yes to everything for a year. And I lost what I had to say. And so I think it's important to remember for all artists who are tuning into this that like you are what's important about the art.
Yep. We get caught up in the yes because of how our profession is viewed. We're not paid in a way to where you can do a job and then have some time off to like live and be a person. You're always working, and while you're working, I don't know how many times we're like, you're in a show and then you're like, okay, I have to run to this audition, or you're starting another process while you're at the end of one, and you're pulling yourself so thin. You're trying to learn lines from one thing. That is, I've done that twice. Never no more.
I did that for a year.
Yeah. It's not. So when you see somebody in the show and you're like, I just saw you in something, yup, you better give them the biggest hug. You better bring flowers to that next thing you see them in. Because know that we are working hard.
Right.
And then you sing too. So you're learning music.
Yeah.
When you were doing For Women, you started doing Last World Octopus.
Yes. And I had not done any real singing in a minute. So those shows were they were like dusting off some things too.
No, you try to act like you weren't a singer. First of all, you came like, I don't really. I'm like, please, you trained. First of all, you had me think, I'm like, oh, Porscha. No. Tyler, you said I sing too. I sing. I don't sing. I don't sing. Tyler, let's do a duet.
Oh my God.
Tell Justin to write it and we can do a duet.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying. put the wheels in motion. But I think that's also part of what we do. We downplay our gifts and our talents because we've been told that we can't be too big.
Oh, yeah.
You can't come in the room with all of this extra stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta be in your box, be there for what they want you to be there for, and don't do anymore.
Yeah. I also, like, I had a lot of trauma around singing. Like, when I left high school, I was supposed to be an opera singer. Like, that, I had gotten into 3 schools for vocal performance, right? But I just, like, I had someone who pretty much betrayed me in a way for this. I don't even want to talk about it. But I had that belief. And I'm still working on that belief. Like,
yeah,
people talk to me about music low-key and they realize how much I know about it. They're like, and I'm like, yeah, actually, like, yeah, I studied with the opera singers for a year, and I had master's classes with my favorite opera singers, and like, yeah, I did this, we did sight reading, and I competed in this, and I won this. It's I think Black people, something happens to all of us in a workspace that makes us be smaller because we're like, oh, someone is so intimidated, or someone thinks that I am taking something from them. That is something that has always been a thing with me. I've always been in a room with white girls who think that I'm taking something from them. And they like believe it to their soul, like, you took that part from me, or they only cast you, and they only do this and do that, you know, and like, you only cast because you Black, and they was really looking for Black people, and
see, excuses,
girl. But also, like, when there's not any other Black people doing the thing that you're doing in that room at the time, what are you supposed to believe?
Yeah.
You know what, my professors are white. The students are white, and I'm the only Black girl in this. Okay, well, maybe that is true. Maybe they are just looking for Black people.
Yep.
Maybe I'm not as talented as they think I am. Maybe I don't really deserve to do that. That's how I during Richard III, when we started Richard, I believed that for maybe the first 2.5 weeks of rehearsal, that I was not supposed to be in that room. I was convinced. I was like,
no.
I was convinced. I think I don't know if I told Bria or Morgan, but I was like, yo, they cast me in this Shakespeare play. I said on purpose. They really want me to be in the play.
Yeah. And you were buying.
But like that, the point is that has got to stop too. Like, people, that's a thing that can happen too. Like, now that people are trying to show more Black faces, I don't want to hear white people talk about what's being taken from them.
That is very important. I thought about that the other day too. And that's another reason I feel like we have been, you know, inactive participants in our own, in upholding white supremacist ideals, is because we take on these roles that were given to us, and then we just do it.
Yes.
We do it. Like, I used to sing, like, I did musicals all throughout high school. Every play I was in college, they'd be like, Deidre, sing. And I'll never forget, I became insecure about it because people started to make a big deal about the attention that was paid to me. So I kind of started to shrink myself, because if people didn't like me, like, I'd rather you be my friend than, you know, for me to like be all like, this is who I am. Like,
right.
So I just didn't do it as much. And I used to want to be a singer. I literally was like, I want to be a singer. Now I need some vocal lessons. So if y'all know somebody.
Aaron Norman.
I know someone else says, I'm going to call Aaron.
I love him.
I got to get my voice back in shape, because we're going to do a musical.
Let's do it, y'all.
By us. A musical that we decide what we're going to do.
A classic.
Oh, yes. A classic. Oh my gosh.
Love it.
Have you, I saw you were out at the beach. I saw like a little video you posted.
Yeah.
What's a place you like to go to kind of find some peace and solace?
Anywhere where there is water. for me. Anywhere. There could be 5 crackheads on my left and some people screaming on my right, and I could totally like block them out and be right with the water. So anywhere for me where there's water and dogs. I'm not gonna lie, I love my dogs. They bring me lots of peace.
We're getting another dog. We're trying to get another dog.
Oh my gosh! What kind of dog are you gonna get?
Well, your little nephew August wants he wants a husky. I said no. They're too big.
Okay.
Then we
Mama.
saw a mini husky, and he's like, "Please, can I get a mini husky?"
Did he say please like that? Please.
Oh, he wants this. But then they shed a lot, and so we want to rescue a dog. So it's really kind of like what they have. I don't want to get a dog from a breeder, but
yeah,
that's another story.
Right.
Do you journal?
Oh yeah, totally.
Has that always been a practice of yours, or something you started to do?
I guess it's always been an off and on practice of mine, but when I left school, I got this like leather notebook. Actually, when I started at 4 Women, and I just now finished it 2 weeks ago, the journal. So I love to make lists, and I do like to journal just freelance because I like to write. I like my handwriting. I'm not gonna lie. I write.
Oh my gosh! If y'all have not, Porscha Shaw has the best handwriting I have ever seen. I don't know an adult person besides my mother who only writes in cursive. So you're in rehearsal, and I got you got your notebook, and you taking notes from the director, and you're like, okay. So I'm like trying to figure it out. I look over at Porscha, all the lines, every line is filled in perfectly, no dipping below. Porscha, go get a book right now. I want you to show these people your handwriting.
Okay,
I know you have one next to you. Anybody? Yes. Rachel said it's
the one
seriously
that
gorgeous.
I've had for a year.
Just show this handwriting, because I said, did they make you sit down and write like 100 times? You know how you get in trouble and you gotta like sit and write.
Real. Well, actually, this is a ode back to my grandmother. May she rest in peace. She has the most beautiful handwriting I've ever seen in my entire life. And they used to make fun of me when this is my...
Look at this handwriting.
They used to make fun of me when
Nobody does that.
Yeah, just my grandma. Just like...
Look at this.
Yeah, I love a perfect list. I love a list, y'all. I love a list. So,
see?
Yeah, that's very true. That's true. So I taught myself how to write cursive because pretty much they bullied me for most of my life. Because my mom and my aunt and my grandma all have beautiful cursive. And my aunt is left-handed.
Oh.
And that cursive, honey, so I had to keep up. I had to keep the family tradition going.
I try to write cursive. I just get impatient now. And I'm like writing.
Pretty cursive, too.
I like cursive. I'm trying to bring it back.
Me too. I'm romantic gone, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Also another conversation.
Well, they still teach it. August was learning it and hates it.
Good.
You know.
I hated it until I was 17, so it's fine.
Oh, there's hope.
I didn't start writing until I was 17 in cursive, so there's hope.
Tell people about your solo piece that you were working on, and you only got a chance to do one iteration of it because of COVID, but
yeah. So it was a show that I wrote called Revive. Miss J. O'Leary also helped me write some of the text for it, and she also performed it with me. It is so basically in June of last summer. Wow. I realized that I was not healing from grief, from trauma, from all these sorts of things. Because I had been having panic attacks and so on and so forth. And then I was working all the time. And I realized that I had no dialogue for healing. As a Black person, I was like, all I knew was church, right? Like that was our form of healing. You pray to God, and go to church. You can't go to church in grad school. I mean, you could. It's your one day off, but you could. You know, we tried it for a little bit. It's hard. But I asked my mom why she never suggested therapy to me when I would tell her when I was going through hard times. And she kind of was like, oh, I don't know. I never thought of that. Like, I never thought that as an option. And so I went down this rabbit hole of like, am I the only person who has no dialogue for healing in my household? Is it my whole community? Like, what do Black people do for healing? And then I had also been doing yoga a lot too. And I realized I was the only person in my yoga classes most of the time who was Black. And I was like, why are there not other Black people in this space? Like getting this healing, getting this, like trying these new things. And so, blah, 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 I made a piece about healing. I'd written all this music that was originally just based on trauma, but it ended up being like healing. And I called Jay, or I saw that Jay had done Citizen, and I realized that she does some of the same work that I do, like the beginning of the play with the apples and the statues and the text and the mixed media. And so I asked her to help me, if she would be cool with helping me perform it and write the text, because the text I couldn't hear, but the music I could hear.
Yeah.
And she agreed to. So I wrote the music for about 6 months in my bathroom. And and we put on a show. And actually right now I'm looking to make my do another version of it. I'm trying to get a social distance version, a workshop together.
Yes.
Of it. Because now I actually performed that show, I think maybe 3 weeks before my grandmother passed, right? And so she never got to see it. And so that I had forgotten in my grief that I had written a thing about it. And then I remembered, I was like, I made a thing about healing, because I felt like I wasn't healing. And so now this version of Revive is really about community, because I feel like my community showed up and I got to remember different things that I had forgotten about healing in my community. Like my grandmother used to go to mission every Thursday, and I remember I was a little Black girl and there were like 7 of like the church's elders who would just sing and read these daily breads without any music. And I remember that, and I was like, oh God, I'd forgotten about that. And so this version of Revive is about how the community shows up for healing for each other, which is also really important right now with what's going on. So I'm writing new music for that, and talking to people, and people are trying to help me figure out how to get it done with all the COVID and Corona stuff going on. So yeah, I'm Revive. One more thing, approach within our community. I think trans is being a Black trans person in our community is something I want to touch on as far as healing, being homosexual in our community, so on and so forth, like abortion, like all these different things that I feel like are taboo to talk about in the Black community, and they could be talked about in other people's communities, but I can speak for mine. I kind of want to revive. I want to infuse healing. I want to revive our community.
Well, if you need me, I'm here.
Yes, actually, actually.
Actually.
I was like, actually, girl, you're on my list. So.
No, and I want to help to be an advocate. I want to start producing more work. So functioning as a producer also, because I think that is necessary in our community, and I think I'm totally capable of it. I'm working on a Shakespeare project with a few people, and Shades of Shakespeare, which is all BIPOC people Shakespeare. So stay tuned for which COVID messed us up too, because we were supposed to have our show in May at the Rep, and then it got canceled. That's exciting. I think it's still scary for me. I was talking to my therapist about this, about knowing I want to write this thing, and then it being about trauma and grief, and then now having all this grief and trauma happening in real time, how it's hard to commit to sitting down and do that.
Yeah.
Because I don't, like, that's something I don't want to do right now.
Yeah.
Like, you feel the need to want to do your thing, but
Mm-hmm.
just learning how to, because you relive stuff through your art. So when you're working like a practice where you can let that go when you're done with it, I think is important. So I'm still trying to figure out what that is for me.
Yeah. That's so true. We had to work on that specifically in Alexander class in grad school. It's called Cooldown for us. Where it's like you like build up the world and you do like this little ritual with yourself to bring yourself out of it. So that's totally valid what you're saying. Because trauma is people are re-traumatized a lot in theater and in art.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's it.
I mean, literally what we're asked to do is take on the emotions and the trauma, the grief.
Yeah.
Everybody is. And then you're like, okay, do that and then go be normal.
Right.
Go have your regular life. No. No. That's it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I didn't read anybody's comments. Did you? I didn't.
Well, Annalise said hi. She checked in but had to go.
Oh, hi.
Allie had said that when she brought her New Orleans accent and herself Shakespeare,
I was there.
Class, and she said it was really liberating and it felt like freedom. I want to see more of that. I think that once, theaters are back, there's going to be a hunger for different types of content than there was before. I think there's been this misconception that theater goers, even white theater goers, only want to see a certain thing.
Yeah.
And I've always felt like as a theater, you can dictate what should be seen. So if you program more culturally diverse shows, the people are going to come and they're going to watch it.
Right. But that means people have to believe that white people aren't their only audiences.
True.
True. But I mean, like, prime example, when we did For Women, those were the biggest, most diverse audiences I have ever seen.
Yes.
Hands down. I was like, it was sold out most nights. Nights. And I'm like, that, and it was because that was the first show. I believe this. I'm not sure. I remember the rep saying that was the first time they had allotted that many pay what you can days for one show. They had like 10 pay what you can days, which they had never had before. And all these black people showed up.
Yeah. I actually just talked about that with someone else. Like, we can't only make the black show the pay what you can show.
Thank you. And then be like, well, we don't really make any money on the black show.
Yeah. Like, no. Yeah. Yes. I had a dream during For Women. I don't know if I told you that I had to go on for you.
And I was like, do it.
We had a joke because Porscha got a cold during For Women. And I was like, ooh, there were no understudies.
Oh my God, I lost my voice.
Did.
For like,
I was like,
I've only ever lost my voice once before that in my life. Once. I had never, ever lost my voice. So that, honey, I was prepared for you to go on and I was going to live for it. Okay?
You were like, yeah. I was like, oh.
I would have been there for your sweet thing, okay?
Oh
my God.
Oh. Amazing. I think it's great. I I love you. I love your commitment to joy, and just because I believe this also, that we are so full of life and love and joy, and it's so equally important, especially at this time, for people to realize that.
Yeah.
And to not continuously victimize Black people.
Yes. Yes. Say it again.
Because we are the breath of life. And I think that that's important for everybody to understand, and for us also, that it's okay to laugh right now. It's okay to be happy. Because sometimes, like, a lot of good things are happening right now for me in my life. And I had to check myself, because I started to, like, I'm looking over my shoulder, like, something's going to happen. I can't get too excited about these things, because that's not fair. It's not fair, because so many people have sacrificed so much and have lost their lives, and I'm happy. And so I'm learning to let that go, because we all deserve happiness.
Yes.
I ain't mean to break down on here, y'all, but I'm saying this is live and uncut.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But you bring me joy. Your work brings me joy. I want everybody to follow Porscha. I'm a lady. Come on. Follow her and her journey, because the pictures you post are bomb. Your aesthetic. I'm going to have you take over this Instagram one day. I'm going to have you do a takeover. And I want you to just put all the beautiful imagery that is in your heart. I'm going to have you do that, because you are a creative soul and spirit that I think the world needs to know.
Thank you so much, Deidre. I love you so much, and you bring me so much joy and also so much safeness. You don't even realize. Being in a room, walking into a room that I think is going to be all white, and I look over and see you, bro, like, so thank you for being a safe place. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for providing space. And you are going to be a hell of a producer, honey. Okay? A hell of a producer. You're right.
I got to make some money some way now. I got to build up a retirement fund. I'm like, look,
girl,
this acting work is fun. But come on now. Y'all got to build up our 401ks, because we...
Say it again. Say it again.
One of my best friends, she is a financial planner, and I thought to have her come on and do a segment with me, so we can talk to artists about, like, ways they can save and invest even with what they have. I think it's important for us to have that, especially right now. So I'm going to ask my BFF to come on and do that, because I think that the people will like it. Okay, we got 2 minutes left. I'm going to do a round robin. I'm going to ask you a question, and you just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay?
Okay.
Popcorn or chips?
Popcorn.
Fried chicken or fried fish?
Fried chicken.
Collard greens or mustard?
Mustard.
Mustard?
Mustard.
Macaroni and cheese or potato salad?
Macaroni and cheese.
If you could live in the mountains or the beach, which one? I already know your answer. Beach. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea. Yes,
this is a good question. Shoes on when you come in the house, or shoes off at your house?
Shoes on. Shoes on. I like to see people's shoes.
Shoes on. So if someone comes to your house, they don't take their shoes off?
Well, I have wood floors, so I'm not worried about it.
We got a shoes on. This is the first person who said shoes on.
Yes, I love y'all cute shoes. Make sure they're cute though, but yeah.
All right, thank you, Porscha. Everybody, stay tuned. I'll definitely post whatever is happening with your solo show, and I love y'all. Tomorrow, come back 12 p.m. I'm going to be talking with JoJo.
I love JoJo.
Oh, St. Joan. Tell everybody when they can view St. Joan, the show you did with Arts West.
I don't know, y'all.